It's Halloween. David Baker's not here. At least I haven't seen him yet, but we've got a lot of football to talk about. Deniz is in studio. We're going to talk offense. We're talking defense. We're talking trade deadline. A lot to come right here on the PHLY Eagles Show. That's right. We're back right here on the PHLY Eagles Show, presented by our friends at Bet365 and Ashley, live from the Xfinity studio. I'm Fran Duffy, joined by my friend Deniz Selman. Deniz, happy Halloween, my friend.
I missed that opening. I think that was great to hear. The only other time, happy Halloween, by the way, back at you. The only other time that the two of us did a pod together was at the bye week. Now I hope this doesn't scare people.
Okay.
In 2023.
Oh no.
And you asked me my main thoughts about the season. And one of the things I said was, what a time to be alive. The Eagles are 24-3 in the last 27 games with Jalen Hurts starting. We're never going to see something like this again.
That's right.
And boy, was I wrong. I mean, not only did that season end in a collapse,
right,
but right away, like the very year after, like we had a stretch of 20-1 and winning the Super Bowl. So like maybe we're gonna have more of these times.
I do think it speaks to the fact that we are truly in a unique time of Eagles football, right? Yeah. And while we can pick nits and talk through why doesn't the offense look like this, or what's the issue with the defensive depth in the back seven. This is all this team does is figure out ways to win.
It is crazy. I mean, it's been crazy. I keep telling Evran, I keep trying to get him to repeat back to me, like, when will you ever see this kind of run again? And he keeps saying never. I know, never. But we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll just keep going.
All right. Well, we've got a lot to get to. We've got the latest trade scuttlebutt, trade deadline stuff. We'll get into that. We're going to get into this offense. Some of the changes we've seen over the last few weeks. Is that something that's going to stay? We'll talk through some of the young players on this team. Have they met expectations? There's a lot to talk about, certainly, with this team. And we'll talk a little bit Halloween and have a little bit of fun as well. But let's start with the big deal, which, look, I mean, news that took over Eagles Twitter yesterday was the fact that I should say Eagles social media. All the digital Eagles world was set ablaze by a report from Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, and then we were calling this the big takeaway, presented by Xfinity. I think when you're talking about this report with Myles Garrett, who's one of the best three players overall in the NFL. To me,
who are your other two? You said three.
Yeah,
so I have to
right.
ask.
I know. You're right. That's a fair point. I mean, should we say non-quarterback?
Well, is that what you meant?
Because I guess because if you're talking about quarterbacks,
he might be the best non-quarterback.
Yeah, he's the best non-quarterback.
Yeah,
he's the best. I mean, 5 sacks last week, losing effort, but 5 sacks are 5 sacks, and real sacks, not even just like cleanup sacks. I think when you're talking about a player like Myles Garrett, to me, like, you don't need me or Deniz here to say like, oh yeah, really good player, worth 3 first-round picks. Like, that speaks for itself. The Eagles have a need at edge rusher. To me, like, that part of it is a no-brainer. But Julia, let's take a look at the quote. This is the report from Charles Robinson, who Deniz, you know that I do a lot of work like on the draft and like following stuff and one of the things that I do is, because there's a lot of reports that come around, around draft time. There's reports from insiders and reporters, national types, local types. I vet these reports and like kind of check the sheets and say like, Charles Robinson is reputable. Charles Robinson, he, to me, like, I'm not reading this as like, oh yeah, like, he's throwing stuff against the wall to see what fits. To me, like, Charles Robinson is someone that if he says something, like, he did hear this from somebody. This is the quote here from Charles Robinson. And I think the big thing that you can take away from this is that, look, Howie Roseman, he's going to check under every single rock. He's going to make sure that if there is a possibility that a player like Myles Garrett is available, he's going to check in on that. Here's the big thing. So the rumors out there, Howie would love a shot at Myles Garrett. But again, I was told by the Browns they are not interested in moving him. I think the Browns would be okay if someone wants to make a call in their running back depth and also defensive end depth, but not Myles. That last line is what caught my eye personally, was the idea that, hey, you know what? I think that Howie probably called, maybe there's a guy like Alex Wright, pass rusher there for the Browns. Okay. Like another player. And it's like, hey, like, by the way, what would it take to move Myles Garrett?
Now, this makes you okay. So from my understanding of this is a reliable source, and that it's true that Howie would be willing to give up these picks.
Yes.
So it's really just about whether Cleveland would do it.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And it sounds from the way you're talking about Myles Garrett that you agree that it would be worth 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's. I think that's perfectly within reason to say 3 first-round picks for a player like that.
And if it's not okay, and what if you include a good player?
Well, that would be the big thing,
right?
And so I because I'm not good with like the salary cap stuff, and so we talked with DFOP Sam Lynch. And said that, because Sam is as good as it gets when it comes to like understanding like cap mechanics, and so I said Sam, I was like, all right, let's say hypothetically this is actually on the table, which personally I don't think it's on the table. I'm sure that Howie asked. Look, if you go back to last spring. Myles Garrett puts in a trade request.
Right.
They said, we're not trading you. They sign him to that record-breaking extension. He signs said extension and then is unhappy a few months later. To me, that's equivalent to moving into a new house on a fault line and then being upset after the third earthquake. Like, he knew what he was getting into. Yeah. He's, I get it. Like, he's upset. You also signed that contract like 6 months ago. I don't think he's going to get traded. Albert Grier from Sports Illustrated did make a pretty convincing argument earlier this week, writing a piece for SI where he said, why it would make sense for the Browns to trade Myles Garrett. He's an outstanding trade piece. You're in no way going to contend this year or next year. By the time you are ready to contend, Myles Garrett's gonna be 32. So try and capitalize on that best you can. I would be shocked if he got to this point and he was actually available.
Yeah, it'd be surprising. I will say I'm not a huge trade deadline guy in terms of like how excited I get about the trade deadline. Maybe because I remember Golden Tate and Kevin Byard and some of these trades that don't make me excited about what happened at those deadlines. Myles Garrett would be an exception, right? It would immediately change the defense. And the same way that you don't need me or Fran to tell you guys that Myles Garrett is good, you probably also don't need us to tell you that the pass rush for this team has not been good.
Correct.
And this defense, which was the #1 defense in the NFL last year, if you look big picture, right now by DVOA, which controls for schedule strength, this defense is 16th. And you look at all of the consistency type metrics like series conversion rate, success rate, like the down-to-down stuff, they're even lower than 16th in those things. Like the reason they're 16th overall is because of red zone success, basically,
right?
Which is more noisy. And then on the film, you see coverage busts after coverage busts and mistakes that you didn't see last year. And I always watch I think most people who watch film probably watch the sideline first and then the end zone.
Yep.
Watch the sideline. I take all the notes about the coverage and all that. And then I watch the pass rush and I take some sort of note about that. And this year, like way too often, the note is no pressure.
Yep.
Like no pressure at all, whether it's one-on-one rushing, whether they're trying stunts, which they're doing more now than they did last year. The stunt rate's slightly up. You're still not getting pressure. Like the stunts aren't getting there either. And it's just like one really good edge rusher would change things so much. Like if you have Jalen Carter on the inside, Myles Garrett on the outside, whether you put them on the same side or opposite sides or however you do it, I mean, this pass rush would immediately change, right? And so it's a very exciting thought. But again, like, will Cleveland do it at what price? Yeah, exactly. So, how much are you willing to, sacrifice how much of the future and all that?
Well, like I said, I talked earlier with Sam Lynch, and I asked him, like, all right, like hypothetically, could they get this done from a salary cap standpoint? And Sam basically was like, yeah, like there's nothing prohibiting them from a cap standpoint of getting this done because, and this was some numbers that I pulled, just kind of looking at that contract. And again, like my eyes not as schooled as Sam's, but very low cap hit for the team that would be trading for Myles Garrett this year.
This season,
essentially be the vet minimum. Now he's owed a lot of money in the next 2 years. I believe it was $73 million, if I remember correctly. So he's owed a lot of money in 2026 and 2027, which you would be on the hook for if you traded for him. So yeah, like even if you have big money players like an A.J. Brown and, the other big contracts that you have, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, all those big numbers already on your cap, they could fit Myles Garrett under the cap. The question would become, hey, you've got Jalen Carter coming down the pipe. You've got Nolan Smith coming down the pipe, who's got to get paid. Jordan Davis is about to get paid. Nakobe Dean's about to get paid. Reed Blankenship's about to get paid. All these players on that side of the football that you want to be able to pay, you're not going to be able to pay all of them as is, much less if you bring in a player like Myles Garrett, even if A.J. Brown were to go, right? So like that's those are things that you would have to really kind of reconcile. So it would make sense. This was the point that Sam made to me was, if you were going to trade for Myles Garrett, you're probably sending Nolan Smith as part of the deal. Rather, you are probably, because just to get another young player off the books, you now decrease the draft pick compensation you're sending the other way. Again, I don't think any of this is happening, but just talking about the realities of the situation.
Yeah.
So that'll do it there for we are calling the big deal again, presented by our friends at Xfinity. Now,
turkeys on it happening, like 5.
Let's go 8.
Let's go a little higher. Yeah, I was gonna say. Just, you said it's a reliable source. All those things make me. I'm gonna say like 13.
And again, the thing is like reliable source. Like I believe that someone said that to Charles Robinson.
Right.
Like Charles reports it if he believes that, but we're talking like multiple layers of separation there in terms of like how this stuff is going to work. Now. There was another big, another chip that fell, I think, that could impact the Eagles' ability to trade for an edge rusher today. So the Miami Dolphins and general manager Chris Grier parted ways this afternoon. I guess it would have been this morning, as reported by multiple outlets. So Chris Grier is on the outs. Why could that impact the Philadelphia Eagles? Well, the Miami Dolphins have a couple of pass rushers that could be on the trade block, guys that have played for Vic Fangio in the past and guys that would make sense for a team to try and acquire before the trade deadline. Jalen Phillips, a former first-round pick, and Bradley Chubb, a player that played for Vic Fangio as well out in Denver. And I think when you're looking at both Chubb and Phillips, you might look at the firing of Chris Grier and say, all right, well, this could help. It could expedite the ability to send out. Or you could say, who's answering the phone if you're calling Miami right now to try and get a deal done before Tuesday. But what are your thoughts on the abilities to maybe get a deal done for either of those two guys?
Well, my first thought is, are these guys who are included in the list of guys who like badmouthed Fangio on his way out the door? Like, are they going to want to play for Fangio? I don't know if that matters at this point.
Well, it might. I would say
it might affect whether Fangio wants them.
Exactly right.
As much as he acts like he has nothing to do with any of the acquisitions on defense.
Right, exactly
He's like, I never heard of the guy. But, I just play with whoever Howie gives me. But it's hard to imagine that that's true.
Yeah. I think that makes it interesting though, in terms of could that make it easier or harder to potentially deal for one of those two pass rushers?
That I'm not going to pretend to know like how that stuff would work and what's going on in Miami right now in terms of how much they're valuing the present versus the future. Like they might be interested in picks because they know they're not going to be good anytime soon. But like you said, who's making that call? Whose future are we talking about in terms of career type stuff?
Let me ask you this though: where do you stand when it comes to the Eagles and Howie Roseman? And if you're him, you're Howie for a day. Are you scared to give up future assets for this team, or is that something where you feel like you do want to push your chips in and try and capitalize on this window?
Yeah. So, I mentioned at the beginning of the season that as a fan, I think that the year after you win the Super Bowl is actually like a more valuable year than a random year because someone wins the Super Bowl every year, but it's not every day that you have a team that repeats and gets mentioned in that kind of dynasty thing. So in terms of legacy, in terms of the history of the NFL, I think the Eagles winning the Super Bowl this year would be more valuable than, for example, winning it in 2 years or something like that. As much as people say, like, we had the parade, we're happy now, it doesn't matter. Like, for me, it's not like that. Like, when we lost that 2018 game in New Orleans, like, I was devastated. I was like, this was an opportunity to repeat, and it's gone. I think in terms of Howie's career and the way that he operates, one of the things that he's benefited the most from is his job security, knowing that he's going to be here in 5 years and willing to trade for future assets, willing to give up current assets. We know that he's done a really good job of this. So this would go against that, right? This would go against the idea of, I'm going to trade my future picks to be good today. And so it kind of goes against what has made Howie good, which is that he discounts the future less than other GMs who know they're about to be fired.
Right.
But when it's a player that's, if it's a player, I know we're not just talking about Myles Garrett anymore, but if it's a player who he really thinks is going to increase the odds of winning the Super Bowl this year, and let's say also next year, then I wouldn't be against it for that reason. Like I've been known to say, like, the future doesn't matter. We're all going to die in the future, right? Like it's like are you going to? I mean, we're all going to die, right? So I mean, just be careful about how far into the future you're looking, because you might not be around for it. So I just think that I looked into the camera for that.
You really want to make that point clear.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I think, yeah, 3 firsts sounds like a lot. Like, what are we going to do? I mean, it depends also on, like, draft picks tend to be a little bit overvalued in the NFL because everybody thinks they're going to make the right pick. But those 3 first-round draft picks, they might be Jalen Reagor and Andre Dillard, right?
Right.
Like, you don't know who those picks are going to turn out. Like, not every first-round pick ends up being, Jalen Carter or Devontae Smith, right? So,
and if you're trading for a player of a blue chip caliber, that should be a late first-round pick.
Exactly, it's a known quantity. You know that he's going to be good. Yeah. So I wouldn't be against sacrificing some of the future, with the understanding also that Howie tends to be pretty good at getting stuff like that back.
All right, well, let's talk through a trade that the Eagles did make. I want to get your thoughts on the new cornerback here in Philadelphia. The new cornerback, Michael Carter from the New York Jets. Thoughts on the acquisition there?
What does he play on the corner of exactly? Is it the corner of the field? Because I mean, he's playing in the middle of the field.
Deniz is very upset that he's referred to as a corner.
I don't.
It's strictly a nickel corner.
I'm not actually upset that he's referred to as a corner, because I know it's convention to call nickel corners, which doesn't actually make sense. He's not on the corner of anything. But I think that it was important in the first 5 minutes for everyone to understand that this guy had basically never played on the outside. And 44 career snaps on the outside, 21 of which were against the Eagles in 2023, because they had I think Sauce Gardner was injured that game. Somebody was injured, and so he had to play on the outside. But he has no experience playing on the outside in the NFL. He was considered one of the top nickels in the league. He was the highest paid nickel in the league, right, at one point. But he's had all these injuries. And of course, what this really brings us to is the question of, is there a plan to move Cooper DeJean to the outside?
What's your thought there?
For good?
Yep.
I mean, Fangio said, right, in his presser this week, he said if you take a player, when you have one of the better players at an important position where you get involved more, you hate to take him and have him be not as good or impactful at another position.
Yep.
And then when Zach asked him, at the very end of the press conference, he asked him, is it correct that it's actually easier to find the nickel than an outside corner? He said that may be correct, but we haven't solved that here yet.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the question, was Michael Carter on his mind at that moment? I mean, he was traded for, like, literally that day.
I would say
as that solution.
Yes.
Like, it's like we hadn't found that solution yet, but we're about to. He's about to come in the building tomorrow.
Yeah.
If Vic's saying that, is it in his mind a solution? Now, you mentioned something on the show that you were on earlier this week. Was it the
emergency pod that we did?
Emergency pod, where you said maybe Vic's got different packages planned, right? Where you have
I think that's where they end up.
You have a nickel where maybe on early downs where you're willing to have Keely Ringo on the outside and you keep Cooper on the inside as like a physical presence who can, like be a B-gap defender in the run game. And then on 3rd and long, you don't want Keely Ringo out there.
Yep.
And so you move Cooper outside and you bring Michael Carter inside. Would Vic really do that is the question, right? Because you already have more base this year. So you're already subbing in and out more. You have the whole Nakobe thing, like where you're moving Jahan Campbell from edge to inside linebacker when you go from base to nickel. And now you're also going to have 2 different nickel packages. This is like so against what he likes to do. Sean Sayed talks all the time about how he likes to have people play certain roles and keep them in those roles, not be subbing in and out all the time. If you have 2 different nickel packages and you also are using a lot of base, not to mention they probably play more dime when you have Michael Carter, right? Because that way you can play Michael Carter and Cooper DeJean inside in a dime package.
Right.
Now we're talking about like 5 different packages that you're using a bunch of for all of them. Like that's a lot of subbing.
What makes you think they'll play more dime though and take Nakobe and Jahan Campbell off the field?
That's a good question too. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. If it's like 3rd and forever, like are you going to be in dime or are you going to be in like? So I guess that's the decision.
What, 1 or 2 snaps of dime a week in the last month and a half.
Yeah,
with Perry Nickerson.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's been
like sometimes 0.
Yeah,
so it's just situational, and it's almost always like 3rd and 7 plus,
right? Which
often doesn't come up because this defense isn't getting into those situations as much this year. But I mean, is there any chance that they traded for Michael Carter just to play dime? That's the other question, right?
Like that would be very, very surprising, unless I mean, unless they said like he's going to be a future piece here, but that's a big number to keep that guy on. If you're,
but what's going to change in the future? Because right now you have no obvious outside corner. And if you remember in training camp, right, you guys were talking about like Cooper DeJean's definitely going to be on the field every snap.
Yeah.
The question is, how is he going to play in base?
Yep.
And it seemed like he was going to play safety. Like he was playing more safety than outside corner in the summer, right? If I recall correctly. And it was like, well, okay, he's not going to trust Drew Makuba to play safety. He's going to use Cooper there, which means he must trust whoever it's going to be, Adoree Jackson. And later it seemed like it was unclear whether it would be Adoree Jackson or Jacorian Bennett. And it turned out he didn't trust either one. Like he had Sidney Brown playing safety and he had Cooper DeJean playing outside in base at the beginning. But my point is like, now is as good a time as any to move Cooper DeJean outside when you have this huge hole outside. What future plan could you have for Michael Carter that wouldn't be a current plan?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like how much worse could CB2 get than it is right now?
So then let me ask you this. You have to put turkeys on 3 options. Michael Carter is here to be the dime defensive back. Michael Carter is here to be the regular nickel, and they're going to use a big nickel package. And Michael Carter is the full-time nickel. How do you lay out those turkeys in those 3 options?
With the 4th option being Michael Carter is like a depth beast.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Well, I guess that would dime would count.
Dime would
dime would count for that. Okay. You know what? I was already thinking it when you said it, and so maybe I'm a little biased because like you saying it like confirmed that. But I'm gonna put the most on the multiple packages.
Yeah,
thing.
that's where I
yeah.
think they
maybe I'll go 48 turkeys on that, and then like 30 on or 33 on full time.
Oh my gosh,
and 19 on he's just dime.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's right. I think that math's right. I'll trust you as the professor here.
I can't be Zach. I can't be using round numbers.
No, of course not. Well, you brought up Nakobe. Let's talk through that a little bit. What were your thoughts on that rotation and how it went? I know you've got some numbers on it.
Yeah, well, Vic said that Jahan Campbell was working as an edge in nickel in practice last week.
Right.
And he gave that as the reason that he didn't end up playing as much inside linebacker.
So I'm not buying.
Which I don't know if that makes sense.
Right.
Like it's like we're working him at this position, which he didn't even end up playing.
Yeah.
Like there were plenty of nickel snaps in the game. If he worked so hard at being the edge there, like why didn't he play? Like Patrick Johnson was playing on the edge in pass down situations at one point on that long drive where they converted like 4 straight third downs. Like Patrick Johnson was the edge rusher on those downs. Like just so people know, like the numbers before garbage time, Nakobe Dean ended up playing 23 nickel snaps, and Jahan Campbell only played 11. And look, this is very anecdotal, and it's not like it's necessarily because of these players, but the Giants had a 9% success rate when Jahan Campbell was out there, 1 for 9. The only successful play they had against Jahan Campbell and nickel was a Jackson Dart scramble in the first quarter for a first down.
Right.
That was the only one.
Yeah.
They were 9 for 23 against when Nakobe Dean was out there, 39%, including those repeated completions on third down to keep that drive going when Nakobe Dean was out there. Now, part of it is they decide before the drive.
Right.
Bobby King was in the mic'd up with Zach Bond last week where he's like, this drive and nickel, it's going to be you two. Which makes me think like they decide before the drive it's going to be you the whole drive, and that drive went forever. It was like 14 plays or something. So that juiced up some of the numbers for how long Nakobe was out there. I don't know, man. I don't like taking Jahan Campbell off the field.
I don't love it either, long term.
And as splashy as Nakobe can be against the run at times, like it's not obvious that the defense is better with him out there in nickel. I love that he's playing base, and I hope he keeps playing base. Yeah,
for him, I'm really glad that that's awesome. He made that play against Minnesota, where he tracks the running back down, he makes the play in the flat. I'm like, man, like that's awesome to see the guy come back from that injury and come back to be able to basically play the same way that he was. It's an awkward situation, but it kind of is what it is. And I'm like,
if you know they're going to run the ball at this point. And obviously you can't know this, but if you knew they were going to run the ball, would you right now have Nakobe Dean out there instead of Jahan Campbell?
I mean, he's a better run defender right now than Jahan Campbell is. But I think it's better for the 2026 and 2027 Eagles if Jahan Campbell's out there on those downs.
Yeah, I think that's right. And but now that we've invented this big nickel package,
right?
Is that the one that's going to have Nakobe Dean?
So
you've got Nakobe Dean, and you have Nakobe Dean and Cooper DeJean like in the middle of the field to stop the run.
Correct.
And then you have Jahan Campbell and Michael Carter in the middle of the field when you know they're going to pass it.
This is what they did in 2023 when Sean Desai was defensive coordinator, who was a Fangio disciple, and they had they had the penny package, and they had
Sidney Brown, Sidney Brown and Big Nickel, and then Eli Ricks would come on to play.
And you had all the different combinations.
Bradley Roby.
Right. Yeah.
Let's not
talk through.
A lot of trauma there.
Yeah. I don't think that's the way he wants to play, but I think you had to play the hand you're dealt there in that way.
I saw this is related to the way that they use the corners. I saw there was like a metric that said that Quinyon Mitchell was matched against the other team's number one wide receiver, like more than any other player, maybe something like that, in the last 2 years. It's been interesting to see the way he uses Quinyon from week to week, and I don't know if you like how closely you tracked it for this last game, but it was the hardest one to figure out. It seemed like he was playing to the field on early downs and to the boundary on third down. That seemed to be like pretty much throughout the game. And it's just like there seems to be a lot of bending over backwards to hide CB2, right? Like, and one of the things that moving Cooper DeJean out there would do, I think, is it would stop that gymnastics of like, how do we hide Keely Ringo? Like, how do we make sure that there isn't a bust on Keely Ringo's side? How do we make sure they don't line up their top receiver against Keely Ringo and exploit him? Because when Quinyon and Cooper are out there in base, it's been left-right the whole year. Quinyon's been on the left, Cooper's been on the right. Like Vic trusts, and when Vic does that, it means he trusts them equally, and he wants it to be simple, lining up and just playing fast. And it's been different not having that ability so far. So it's appealing to have a Cooper DeJean out there, but I hate taking the nickel Cooper DeJean off the field to put the outside corner Cooper DeJean on the field.
No question.
Need to clone the guy. Have two of them out there.
I mean, that would be nice, but
three of them, in fact. One of them could play safety.
We'll see if you're in an Ivy League school. You can try and get people working on this.
We got a clone factory in our office. Yeah.
All right, well, let's I'm doing a terrible job as host, by the way, because we are 27 minutes in and we have yet to hit our first break. Let's do that. Let's hear a word from our sponsors. We'll talk offense on the other side of the break. Let's now hear from our friends over at Ace Hardware, because look, it's starting to get chilly. This week you're starting to feel the temperatures drop a little bit. When that weather turns the way that it has, the last thing you need is a home project that is piling up over and over and over again. You start to hear it and you start to think about it. And you're like, oh, I still haven't gotten to that leaky faucet or to that outlet. Well, Ace Hardware Home Services brings the trusted local pros right to your door to help you get your home ready for those colder months. From heating tune-ups and plumbing fixes to generators and emergency repairs, their experts handle it all. No guesswork, no stress, just a local pro to get the job done right. Satisfaction guaranteed. Find the help you need for your next home project at acehardwarehomeservices.com. We'll also hear from our friends over at Parks Casino, because whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win. At the Bet Parks online casino app, you can check out the brand new casino games like Huff and Puff, and Huff and More Puff, and Fireblaze Sky Queen, a Bet Parks exclusive, the only app that you can use to play all of your favorite casino games in the palm of your hand. You can play blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, baccarat, and hot online slots like Cash Eruption, 88 Fortunes, and Cleopatra. Online slots, play the hot online slots based on your favorite streaming shows: Walking Dead, Squid Game, Breaking Bad, and Peaky Blinders. All your favorite classic casino games from wherever you are. New users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you are down in the first 24 hours. Go to betparks.com and download the app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Must be 21 or older in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParks. You love to play, you play to win, you bet BetParks. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we're back here on the PHLY Eagles Show. Let's go over to the offensive side of the football where, look, it was actually, no, before we get there, I got a few things.
Okay.
A quick peck nest migraine.
Okay, I'm ready.
Milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate.
Oh, my God.
We're not spending a lot of time on this.
This is really easy. for me.
Yeah, this is very easy for me too.
Okay, migrate white chocolate.
I'm going to judge you on here.
I don't even know what white chocolate means. Like chocolate's not white, and it shouldn't ever be white, and that should not exist.
I will not stand for white chocolate.
Migrate white chocolate without a doubt.
Man, so I'm migrating dark chocolate.
I am nesting dark chocolate. See,
my wife.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Fran. I'm Turkish. Okay.
Yeah.
So as an example, when we drink coffee, we drink coffee. Like we don't put a little bit of coffee in like a huge gallon of milk and call it coffee. Like I don't even know what that is, or like mix it with water or whatever.
So you want the bitter, yeah.
And when I eat chocolate, I like to eat the chocolate. So yeah, I mean, if I wanted milk, I would drink milk. And the same thing's true with with coffee and with chocolate for me. Like it's like yeah. So, everyone's favorite gelato flavor when we go to like a gelato place is like that like super dark fondante like chocolate. And he's like 6 years old and he's like ordering the fondante and they're like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah." So I'm very proud of that.
Julia, you got to take on this?
So easy. And I guess I have to peck the milk chocolate, but I mean only because
by default.
Yeah.
Hello?
I can hear
you.
We can hear you just fine.
I don't like chocolate.
Really? I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
Used to.
You don't like chocolate?
Yeah,
Oh,
growing up I used to, and I would say probably just milk chocolate, and I would have nest. I would peck white and migrate dark. But nowadays, none of it.
See, this is part of my anti-milk stance. Like, we were talking about cloning Cooper DeJean earlier. Cloning Cooper DeJean would be great because we need more dry cereal eaters in the world. Yeah. And he's a confirmed dry cereal guy. He has his own brand of cereal, right? And so he knows about cereal.
This is who you're trusting.
Confirmed, confirmed dry cereal guy along with me and EJ. I've never understood putting milk in cereal. It makes no sense. I mean, I understand it's the status quo, and therefore people think it's normal. But there's nothing normal about it. It's like, and people are like, "Oh, do you put the milk in first, or do you put the cereal in first?" That's like asking, "Do you dip your pizza in the water, or do you put the water in the bowl first and then
the same thing.
and then dip your pizza in it?" And my answer would be, I don't dip my pizza in water because it's better without the water. And the same thing is true with cereal and milk. I just don't get it.
I wanted to keep the show short. I want to get home for trick-or-treating. I'm sure like everybody that's watching, I'm not even going to address that. Julia, do we have that video that was sent to us?
I don't know.
So you mentioned,
no idea what
you mentioned EJ.
Oh yeah.
Who's over?
He's in Paris.
He's in Paris.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned that the EJ that left is not the EJ that's going
to come back.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm a little concerned.
What's going on? I know he's been sending back some videos.
He's been sending back little videos here and there.
Yeah. He's losing his mind slowly?
I think slowly is delving.
Okay.
I don't want to say like for the worst. But
I might not have seen the evidence here. What's going on?
Yeah, it's this last one. It was unrecognizable.
Okay.
We'll see what was.
So
Julius got it. Yeah, it's delving a little bit away from the EJ that we all know and love.
All right, I'm very curious.
By the way,
someone says I eat the soup, but just the noodles. Actually, that's true. When I go to the noodle place, I usually get dry noodles. I don't get the noodle soup. Maybe I just don't like wetness in my food.
Yeah, that's
unnecessary wetness. Yeah.
Nest milk chocolate, peck white chocolate, and migrate the hell out of dark chocolate for me personally.
Oh.
All right, let's hear from EJ across the pond.
Je suis policien.
That's it. That's it.
That's
it.
Hold on. Is that a real?
So that's
is
the first
that a
time
real?
Julia's ever seen
First
it.
of all, is that a real hat? It looks like a photoshopped. It looks like you photoshopped.
Je suis policien.
I'm a little worried.
Did somebody like make that with AI, or is that really EJ?
No, that's really EJ.
Oh wow,
that's really EJ. He's living his best life.
A little disturbing. A little disturbing. I gave him some food advice. Curious if he
goes
to some of my spots.
Just
it's like good
pizza
food.
In water.
Well, no, it's not. That's the whole. It's good French food that they don't dip in milk before they eat it. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about this Eagles offense. A couple of weeks ago, you sat here at the desk with Bo, and we don't need to spend too much time on this, but I loved the show in the moment where you guys went through the 6 adjustments that the Eagles could make offensively.
Yeah.
And Julia, we have the graphic. So here are the 6 things that you and Bo brought up, and talked through it piece by piece. By my count, they've done definitely 3 of these, and at least 4 to me. Like, I'm looking at I think there might be 4. What have the numbers shown?
That's what I thought too. The numbers don't really support it. Now, I think it's interesting to see like the difference between just counting things and perception based on the plays that stick out in the game, right?
All right.
Because number 1 is more play action, and the Eagles were at 19.6% play action in the first 6 games. Now, we had that show after the first 6 games. There have only been 2 games since, so it's a small sample since. There's actually been less play action the last 2 weeks than there was in the first 6. It's down slightly to 18.9. By the way, these numbers are all like bottom quarter of the league. You know, like 29th in the first 6 weeks and 26th in the last 2.
Right.
Now, the reason we're talking so much about play action the last 2 games is because of the under center play action stuff. There were 5 snaps of under center play action in the first 6 games. The only successful play was a scramble in week 1. In week 7 against the Vikings, the famous like long touchdown to Devontae Smith, there were 2 other long completions to Devontae Smith. There were 4 snaps of under center play action. There were 3 against the Giants. There were actually 4, but one of them got called back for penalty. So in the stats, it counts as 3. I mean, that 3.5 plays of under center play action the last 2 weeks still ranks 22nd in the league. Like, it's not, but the funny thing for us is like, it's like, oh my God, like what a wrinkle, right? Now, has there been more under center? Absolutely.
No
like it was 14% the first 6 weeks. That's ranks 30th, and that's not even taking out the sneaks.
Right.
And 39% the last 2 games, which is 9th. Now, if you're wondering what it's replaced, I don't know if you noticed, but the pistol's gone. Pistol was 13% the first 6 weeks, 0 snaps of pistol the last 2 games. And so I think in their minds, the pistol chapter has kind of been replaced by the under center chapter, because some of the play action stuff that they were doing, like the dagger in the Super Bowl, was like a pistol play action play, for example. I think that stuff has been replaced slowly, and it was only a few plays a game. And that's been replaced by a few plays a game of under center play action. Now, does that count as using more play action? In my mind, yeah, because it actually works. Like, correct. It actually moves the linebackers.
I think
like,
this counts as
like there was a play like in the game last week where the linebackers moved up like 6 yards because of the under center play action, and then Devontae Smith caught that crosser. And like that just makes such a big difference that I think we can say that that is more play action. Should this team use play action? Yeah. I mean, play action, drop back success for the Eagles, 51%. Non-play action, 41%. That's a pretty big difference. And the whole league does better with play action than non-play action, but only a couple points better, not like 10 points better. So I think more under center play action would be great. If it could be even a few more plays a game, that would be great. Now, we know how anecdotal they are. What do you think about that 16-yard sack on under center play action? Is that the last snap of under center play action we ever see from the team?
As someone who was, we'll say, invested in how many yards they acquired off of under center play action last week, when they had that penalty on the first one that negated the Devontae Smith catch, and then had the sack, I was like, we are never going to see under center play action ever again.
That's right.
Look, that was a terrible sack.
Yeah, no, it was bad.
You can't have that. So I think they'll try and coach around that. Here's my theory on this, because one of the other items you had, I believe it was the 6th item on that list, was the lack of QB runs.
Right.
I do think, and you guys said it at the time a couple weeks ago, that is a conscious decision. We're not going to run Jalen, whether that's Jalen's call, coach's call, owner's call, whoever's call, like organizational call. We're not going to lean into the quarterback run as much. I think if you are removing that element, and you are recognizing the fact that the offensive line is not performing at the level that we've accustomed to see, and you have all these other factors that, you know what, this offense, why it's not quite to the level that we've come to expect in the first 4 weeks. I think I might think that's why you got to this point where they started to embrace the under center play action, because it was like, look, Jalen, like if we're not running,
if the run threat's not there to move the defenders,
something's got to
hold the defenders.
We got to do so. We got
to move somebody somehow.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I think that is why the inching towards the under center play action and the under center runs have happened.
That makes sense. I mean, to follow up on the QB run thing, I know I've talked about this earlier this year as well, but Jalen Hurts now has 8 career games in which he doesn't have a single non-sneak designed run.
Yeah.
And 4 of them are this year. There have only been 8 games this year.
Yeah.
And I think like in the other games where he does have one, like in 2 of them, he only had 1, like only 1 designed run. Now, in terms of scrambles, I thought this was interesting too. He said that, I think there was the game in Minnesota where there were a couple of successful scramble drills, the AJ touchdown.
Yeah, sure. And then the play along the sideline, yep.
Right. And then the game before that, there was the one where he tried to hit Jahan Dotson, but Jahan Dotson like didn't quite, they didn't quite get on the same page early enough, and it ended up being an incompletion. And he said that week after the Vikings game that he has a lot of idle time in the pocket, and they want to be more aggressive with that time in the pocket going forward. And so he talked to the receivers, and he talked about ways to do that, and he thinks it's paying off. So I was curious about his scrambling. Like, is he scrambling less to run with the ball? So like a scramble, by this definition, a scramble is when you actually run with the ball for positive gain. His scramble rate this season is around what it's been in his career at 8%. However, of his 22 scrambles, 16 of them came in the first 4 games, including 9 in the first game.
Yeah.
And only 6 scrambles in the last 4 games.
Yep.
So I think there's the no QB designed runs, but there's also the let's keep the ball a little bit longer, try to make a big play rather than try to run. And that could lead to more sacks, and he's getting sacked a lot.
Right.
So that's an issue.
Which has always been the case.
That's always been the case, and it is this year as well. He's getting sacked 10% of the time, which is 7th most in the league. But he seems to be consciously trying to make plays, like live longer for actual completions.
Yep.
He also has 0 throwaways in 3 of his last 5 games.
That's the
and his throwaway rate is league average this year. It's always been way above league average. Right. So it's his career low in throwaway rate at 3% by a mile. So I feel like Jalen's going through this evolution.
Yeah.
And when we were texting earlier this week, I kind of compared it to the Jordan thing, where like he knows he's not going to be able to be as dangerous with his legs as he gets older. And I wonder if part of the Michael Jordan like thing that he has, right?
Yep.
I mean, he dresses like Jordan. He tries to act like Jordan, right? He wants to win like Jordan. I wonder if at some point he also made the decision that like, I got to develop that Jordan mid-range jumper because I'm not always going to be able to blow by guys, and whether we're seeing that right now.
My response to you earlier this week, and I'll share it with our listeners and our viewers, is I wondered last year if Kellen Moore was going to communicate that same type of evolution to Jalen, because that was the same evolution that Dak Prescott underwent. When Dak first came into the league, he was a real threat with his legs, and then the injuries happened fast and furious with him, and he lost a lot of his athleticism, and you saw him quickly evolve from running threat to situational running threat. Like, all right, now inside the 20, this is where you got to worry about the zone read and scrambles. And now he's just a pure, like, I'm only going to win from the pocket and that's it. I wonder if that's something that was communicated to Jalen as well, is like, hey, like, you're going to have to get to this point at some point.
Yeah. No.
One other aspect I want to get to offensively that I know that you had some numbers on was the throwing out or running out of 11 personnel and throwing out of 12 personnel. Julia, there's a graphic, the differences between the 11 and non-11 personnel. The Eagles have had so much success this season when it's funny considering what we've talked about with the tight ends and blocking. Now, a lot of this is taken into account, like the 6-0 line stuff, but you can see the numbers on the screen. They have been so much more explosive and have been able to create a lot of, because this is purely EPA per play. A lot of their big plays have come from heavier personnel sets.
Yeah, I mean, success rate too. I mean, they've been more consistently better and also more explosive when in heavier sets. A lot of the big plays they have this season are out of those heavier sets, and that includes like the Fred Johnson stuff, but it also includes just regular 12, 13, and so on. Now, in terms of taking my advice, it hasn't really happened. I mean, like the pass rate out of 11 personnel was 74% for the first 6 games, 69% the last 2. But when you look at neutral situations, exactly 61%, both before and after my suggestion. And then out of non-11 personnel, the pass rate was 39% in neutral situations before my suggestion, exactly 39% the last 2 games as well. Right. It's hard to get the exactly the same when you have so few plays, and yet they've managed to not change that pattern at all. So there's been almost no change at all. However, they are doing it better and more effectively, right? Like, and we see those big plays coming out of those heavy sets. Now, for the season, as you mentioned, and as the graphic says as well, The Eagles are just so much better. They're first in the league when not in 11 personnel in EPA per play. They're 21st when they're in 11 personnel. They're third in the league in EPA per drop back. People are like, oh, those are just the tush pushes. No, it's not. Like, you look at the pass plays, they are third in the league in EPA per drop back and fourth in the league in drop back success rate. When in heavy personnel, that goes all the way down to 20th and 28th in 11 personnel. Now, I was going to ask you, why do you think this is? I mean, do you think it's like getting matchups? Like, we know it's not because Grant Calcaterra is like a great second tight end. Like, that's not the reason, right?
No.
So what is it
there?
Cam Latu. I mean, he's not playing. Yeah.
I think without studying it, it feels a little noisy. I think it's circumstantial.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely point to noise when looking at the drop back out of heavy personnel because it's not that many plays.
Right. That's what. Yeah. And so when I look at it, they had the longest, a couple of their longest runs of the year. The 65-yarder from Saquon. That goes for the touchdown on the second play of the game. So that comes out of heavier personnel sets as well. So I tend to think it's a little bit noisy, but. I digress.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think they're going to continue to use some of those heavier packages, and we'll see if the success continues. I was wondering if some of it's just like the way defenses are matching the heavy personnel, and maybe keeping the pass rate out of those low is almost on purpose. Like you don't want them to be playing pass in those situations as much, so that when you do pass it, it's more effective. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot to chew on. We'll continue to do so over the next week. I'm going to try and do better as a host. We're going to try and get to our second break here, 46 minutes into the show. Let's hear from our sponsors another time here. We'll be back on the other side. Let's first hear from our friends at Elkins Chevrolet. Eagles fans, you know who's playing championship level car deals every single day. That's Elkins Chevrolet, located on Route 73 South in Marlton, New Jersey. It's run by three brothers, Jason, Adam, and Josh. These guys are in the store every single day. They're working to make sure they have a huge lineup of Chevys at the best price and providing honkin' good service. No fumbles, no drama, just real brothers running a local business and backing every deal like it's the championship game. So if you are in the market for a new Chevy, make your next move to Elkins Chevrolet. Real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of honkin' good service. Shop now at elkinschevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. We'll also hear from our friends at HelloFresh, because fall is here, and with it comes cooler nights, heartier meals, and craving for something warm and satisfying. That's where HelloFresh comes in, bringing you comforting chef-designed recipes and fresh seasonal ingredients right to your door. This season, they've taken things to the next level with their biggest menu refresh yet. Say hello to a whole new way to go to dinner. They got bigger, they've gotten healthier, they've gotten tastier. I'm telling you, I've been a big proponent of HelloFresh for a long time. Before I started working here, we've been using HelloFresh in the Duffy house. Last night, I got I made a little bit of like baked potato soup. Rainy day was hit perfectly. I've done some flatbreads this week. I had some tacos earlier this week as well. You can spread it out. You want to go healthy. You want to go big. You want to go hearty. All the variety you could ask for. Could not speak higher of HelloFresh. So again, the best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/Eagles10FM now to get 10 free meals. A free item for life. One per box with active subscription. Free meals applied to a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/Eagles10FM to get 10 free meals and a free item for life. All right, back on the PHLY Eagles show. I've got another Peck Nest migrate for you.
Okay.
I'm not even going to ask Julia this one since we found out that she doesn't even like chocolate. So
okay.
we're not
this is chocolate related. This is Halloween.
Related. Yes, yeah. Exactly. Chocolate with peanut butter.
Okay.
Chocolate with pretzel.
Okay.
Chocolate with coconut. Peck Nest migrate.
Definitely nesting the peanut butter. I'm a big fan of Reese's.
I thought you were going to have
butter
some hot take there. Okay.
No. I like peanut butter. Okay. Chocolate with pretzels. Chocolate with coconut. Man, I would love to migrate both of those.
Wow. Really?
I guess that makes sense. How are we getting the coconut in there? Like, is this like? Do you have a candy in mind?
How are we getting
well, because chocolate covered pretzels, like I know what those are, but like what am I imagining?
Not the daddy chocolate,
Yeah, see that I don't think that's how it works, and that's why.
I feel like I can go to the weekend happy now.
All right. Took me a second is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me. There's probably another vessel in there. It's usually like almonds or something.
Okay, I thought you were continuing the earlier.
Laid on top of the you lay that on top of the nut, and then you put the chocolate all over.
Wow, this is just gonna keep going.
I'm talking about the food here, Julia.
Yeah.
All right, keep it together.
I think I mean, just because I don't want to think about that anymore, I think I'm gonna peck the pretzel. Let's migrate the hell out of this coconut analogy.
I think I would do the same thing. Let's move on here. Comment in the chat. Tell us how you expect chocolate and coconut to come together. All right. Let's. By the way, I didn't include chocolate covered raisin. Chocolate covered raisins are top 3 snack for me.
Oh wow, we
Top
have
3.
very different.
I love chocolate covered raisins.
Yeah, I'm very anti-raisin in general. Raisin was like one of the only things I really didn't like eating as a kid. And have you seen that? I don't know if it's a meme or a poster or whatever, but it's like this little girl and she's looking at a cookie and she says, "Raisin like cookies that look like chocolate chip cookies are the reason I have trust issues." That's exactly that. Like totally speaks to me as a kid. Like whenever there were cookies, and I was like, "Wait, those aren't raisins, are they?" And I was always just like disgusted when it was raisins instead of chocolate chips. But
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm not. You know what? I'm anti-dried fruit in general.
I mean, you're
like one of the best
fruit. You're anti-wet food.
Things that should be wet should be wet, and things that should be dry should be dry. The thing that makes fruit good is that it's juicy. Give me a juicy grape. Don't put it in the sun and dry it. What is the point of the drying it? The reason people dried fruit in the past is because we didn't have the technology to like preserve fruit, so they had to dry it for the winter or whatever. Why are we still doing this?
Look, pairing I love a charcuterie board, so like pairing like some cheese and crackers with some like dried mango or like dried not a
charcuterie guy either. Well, I don't like cheese that's not melted. It's got to be melted on there. Melted onto something.
Let's talk about the running back room. All right. So one thing I thought when I knew that you and I were doing a show together, I said, okay, let me take some of my draft projections on some young players, because you've watched every single down of these players. You've taken copious notes on all these guys. Have they met some of the pre-draft expectations, at least what my expectations were? I know you don't evaluate these guys coming out of college, and we'll kind of breeze through, and we'll share some notes here.
Yeah, and this is a great. I thought this was a great idea, in part because I typically don't even know what the pre-draft expectations were for guys. Like I have no idea what anyone thought of Tank Bigsby. You know what I mean? Like Tank Bigsby started existing for me when the Eagles played against him, and I was watching the film of that game.
Kick returner.
That's right. Yeah, big time kick returner. Yeah, but. No, this will be fun.
All right, so let's go through it. We're going to be fast here because it's already 2:52. All right, Will Shipley was.
For the record, I'm not in a rush. I mean, I can talk about chocolate all day.
I've got to change it to like a ninja costume when I go home. We got all kinds of stuff going on.
What's Francis going to be?
He's an electric ninja. So he's a ninja, and he's an electric ninja, which means that he's got AA batteries attached to his shoulder that's like an electric outline. It's like very like Sub-Zero feel, like a whole ninja outfit, like cerulean, like light blue. Like
so it's gonna like glow in the dark kind of thing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So he's got that, and I'm just a regular ninja.
Regular ninja.
Cool enough to get the electric aspect.
Looking forward to the photos.
Yeah, that'll be great. How about Evren?
Evren is the Pink Panther.
Oh.
Now it's a kind of pink, kind of fuzzy outfit, and Emily was worried that people wouldn't know that it was the Pink Panther. Right. And I said, well, first of all, it's clearly the Pink Panther. It has like the Pink Panther's like face on his head, but in order to really make sure people know it's the Pink Panther, we're going to strap speakers to him when we go trick-or-treating.
Song? Nice.
Yeah, so we're going to have the iPad like in a backpack, like in his bag.
Yeah.
And it's going to play the Pink Panther theme on loop as he walks around the neighborhood.
You're going to hate life in like 2 hours.
I love the Pink Panther theme. So yeah,
I love it too. Not on a loop.
Now it's 2.5 minutes, and it has it has some parts other than the most typical part, and so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll check in with you at like 5:45.
No, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
I will say that Francis was a Ghostbuster like 2 years ago, and when little kids are like figures from like the 80s and 90s, the other little kids don't know what they are, but the adults that are
right,
and you're like, oh, that's great. So he'll get a lot of
attention. No, we had the parade this morning, and some of the parents were like, how does he even know the Pink Panther? Yeah, and it's actually because his kindergarten teacher kept playing the Pink Panther cartoon for them in school, so that's how he learned about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you are gonna hate that song.
No, I love it. I love it. We've been practicing, so I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through this.
All right,
Tank Bigsby and Will Shipley. So we'll start with Bigsby first. Bigsby was my RB3 back in 2023 behind Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. I graded him as a role player coming out. Like I thought that he could be like a low end 1, high end 2. My final summary: 3-year starter for the Tigers is a hard charging track runner who routinely picks up dirty hidden yardage. Solid athlete, some burst of breakaway in space, and he'll create some room to work for himself. But he's at his best as a violent insert back who can get downhill in a hurry and wreak havoc. Average pass catcher, good moments as a blocker. He has 3-down potential as a run-first primary back. He can fit in as a 3-down backup and wait his turn if needed. Regardless, I feel like this will be a top 2 running back in the NFL and should be able to make an impact early on as a rookie. What are your thoughts on Tank Bigsby?
Sure looks good last game.
I mean, that was
5 runs of 10 plus yards, 3 of them on duo, 1 of them on a pin pull, and 1 of them on an outside zone. What do you think of all the duo this year?
I'm a fan.
It's interesting to see what a big change it's been. Yeah. Also 5 pin pull runs this game where there had been 0 earlier in the season with Cam Jurgens at center, which is something we have to talk about at some point. I think Bigsby has looked really good. I mean, in the very brief opportunity he got, he had a nice run against the Vikings as well.
He did.
I mean, this run game is struggling, and sometimes just bringing a different running back in seems to change things.
Right.
Like not obviously he's not as good as Saquon, right? But like you don't need him to be as good as Saquon. You need him to have the vision and make the play when he's in there.
There was an interesting nugget this week from the Move the Sticks podcast, Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks. And Bucky, who calls the games for the Jaguars, was asked about Tank Bigsby, and he said, Tank really had trouble kind of grasping that he wasn't the guy in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
And to me, my ears perked up when I heard that, because I wonder if that kind of feeds into why the Eagles were so quick to say, like, he's a kick returner, he's a kick returner, he's a kick returner.
Because they don't want him to
basically to set expectations. Like, hey, like, you're not coming in to even like chip away at Saquon carries. Like, but he knows he's not going to come in and be the guy.
I was going to say, you'd think just having Saquon would be enough for him to know that that's not what he's coming for. Would even take
away, because A.J. Dillon was the in the RB2 role at that point.
Right.
You had Will Shipley, like, to almost like set expectations for Bigsby at that point.
Yeah. Well, he certainly looks better than A.J. Dillon, more explosive, and I really liked how quickly he made decisions on some of those duo runs, right? Like, because if the linebacker's inserting into that inside gap, he would just kick it. He would just bounce it outside quick. Yes. And watching live, it would be like, that doesn't look like the design of the run at all. But I guess that's part of duo, right? Like, which is something the Eagles didn't used to run at all.
Not used to seeing that, yes.
And I remember, I used to always text Fran, by the way. I would like text him a bad video of a play, and I'd be like, is this inside zone or duo? And I remember at some point, probably because he wanted me to stop texting him, he was like, if the Eagles are running it, it's inside zone.
I don't remember saying that, but that sounds like me.
It's like, stop texting me.
It's pretty good.
Eagles plays and asking me if it's duo. It's not, right? And part of that is duo is almost always from under center, and the Eagles weren't running those plays from under center. And now we're seeing it. But Bigsby's looked good. Now remember, asking me about running backs is probably dangerous, right? Because I just don't think the running back is that important. A player on a team, like in terms of whether you end up having success in the run game or not. This team was one of the top run teams in the league with Miles Sanders, with DeAndre Swift, and so on. But Saquon's playing too much, right? Like having him play fewer snaps is probably a good thing for his career and for his being fresh in the playoffs. So bringing in a guy who you can still get explosives with is a great thing for the team to have.
Let's go, Julia. I'm going to throw you a curveball. Can we go to our third break?
And by the way, thank God he's not returning kickoffs anymore, because he might be the worst kickoff returner in history.
And Shipley has looked outstanding in that.
It's very good.
We'll get into that. All right, let's go to our third break. Knock that out before the 3 o'clock hour, and then we'll wrap up the show on the other side. We'll start with our friends over at Game Time, because look, obviously we are in the thick of NFL season, college football season. We've got baseball winding down, but if you want to get to a Sixers game, you want to get to a Flyers game, if you're trying to get to any of these and see these guys up close, Game Time is the place to be. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means that you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, the fees are always included. So what you see right there on the app, that's what you pay. I can tell you, as someone who has used Game Time numerous times in the past, it is extremely easy to use. It's exactly the way that we describe it here when we do these reads. It's plug and play, and you get to the game, and you don't have to. I mean, I love the ability to be able to the seat views, to get that panoramic view from your seat. The zone deals where you don't even need to pick the specific seat, but you say like, hey, like I just want to sit in this area. You get a few bucks extra, back in your pocket for not having to pick that exact location. You got the lowest price guarantee, the Game Time ticket coverage, where your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code PHLY for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. We'll also hear from our friends at Monarch Money, because look, a lot of people, you don't know like where all of your money is tied in, all the different accounts you're paying for, all the different services you're paying for. God knows there's a million different things that you can spend money on, and they make it so easy now where it's like, oh, just sign in with this account and we'll automatically just plug your bank account info in, and you're paying for this without even thinking about it. That's where Monarch comes in, and they can help. Number one, like get this all situated for you, and then educate you on the different ways to just kind of say like, hey, are you using this? Are you not using this? It's your all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or on your phone. And right now, just for our listeners, Monarch is offering 50% off in your first year. Look, to me, like that's as good of an investment as you can make. And when to me, like Monarch, again, it does all the heavy lifting. Link all of your accounts in minutes, get clear data visuals, smart categorization of your spending, and real control over your money. Monarch Money, don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code PHLY at monarchmoney.com in your browser. Half off your first year, 50% off your first year. monarchmoney.com with code PHLY. Wait, by the way, welcome to Boover Time.
Oh,
I didn't get a chance to tee it up beforehand because I was terrible at getting us into that break, but I'm glad I got it in. Boover Time.
You're too down on yourself, friend. You're doing great.
Listen, it's not like it's been a while since
I was just gonna say it's not like you haven't hosted a podcast.
Again, it's been a while, but
just to be clear, he didn't say Bo, he said boo.
Happy Halloween, everybody out there. Yeah. Look, I want to do a few of these. I don't think we need to do every single one of them, but there are a few where I'm.
Can I derail you for a second?
Yes.
You talked about running backs.
Yeah.
And I don't think running backs matter that much. But you know what I do like is running backs out on routes. And I've been monitoring this all year.
You have.
Where the Eagles have this historically high rate of keeping the running back in to protect.
Right.
And this last game, I thought they made a conscious decision to do the opposite. They were sending the running back out on the route immediately, even against blitzes. 44% blitz by the Giants, and yet the Eagles only kept extra guys in to protect 20% of the time, and a lot of those were premeditated, like keeping Fred Johnson in as the sixth guy, obviously, or like a play-action play where you're max protecting. By my count, there were only 2 plays the whole game where there was like a scan and stay in to protect by the running back. One of them was on the Jahan Dotson touchdown where Will Shipley stayed in, and one was on an exchange pressure by the Giants where Saquon stayed in to block the linebacker. That was a slant to Devontae Smith. I thought Saquon's touchdown, which you correctly called it a bust.
This is a great point by you.
But I really think that if the Eagles were known as a team that sent the running back out on a flat or wheel route in those situations, that there would be extra emphasis by the defensive coordinator to make sure we're in man coverage. You have Saquon. You stay on Saquon.
Yeah.
What do the Giants do? They blitz both of the linebackers on that play, and Saquon is wide open. And you watch the play, and you're like, was that supposed to be cover 0? Was the safety supposed to get Saquon? Was it supposed to be the edge rusher dropping to get Saquon? Probably not, because the Giants don't do that much. Was it supposed to be one of the linebackers? It was probably supposed to be one of the linebackers, but teams have been preemptively sending those linebackers, even when it's man coverage, and it looks irresponsible when you're looking at it on film.
Right.
You're like, no one's covering the running back, which a lot of defenses do in the NFL, by the way. And I thought sending him out on that for the wide open touchdown was a great change. And then your favorite play of the game, the 15-yard backside dig to Devontae Smith.
Yes, on the blitz,
would probably not have been as easily open if Saquon had stayed into block on that play. He runs into the flat where Devontae Smith came from.
Dallas too. Dallas crossed
exactly.
across the field. Yeah.
And it takes 53 Masao out of the passing lane for that play. Now, could Jalen have thrown that over the linebacker? Maybe. But just like we talk about moving the linebackers with play action, you can also move the linebacker pretty easily by just sending the running back to the flat. You don't have to even throw to him. And so I thought those were two positive examples. And you really didn't see very many negative examples where it was like, oh man, that sack would have been prevented if the running back had stayed in. Like I thought the sacks were mostly because of other things. So I really like that. And I hope that it wasn't specific to that game. Yeah. And I hope we see it continue.
I kind of think that we will, but we'll see. I think it's a good call out by you. And I'm glad when I saw that you posted that on social media about like the busted coverage and how that interacted with the running backs releasing out. I thought that was a really valid point on your side. All right, really quickly, Jahan Dotson.
Yep,
had the big catch down the field.
Very similar to his catch last year against the Jaguars.
The Jaguars.
Yeah.
What's your interest level on bringing him back this offseason? Knowing that like the way we're going with the AJ Brown, whether timeline wise. What's your interest level on bringing Jahan Dotson back?
I don't know. Not like tepid. I mean, like not super exciting. I mean, he's been one of the least productive receivers in the NFL. It's hard to not see that. I mean, he's on the field a lot.
Yep.
This is still a very heavy 11 personnel team. He's on the field a lot. He's used to run those clear out routes. Like that's what he does. And I feel like you can find a guy to do that. Now, if AJ Brown's not here and you need a guy to be number 2, is he good enough to be number 2?
Have you seen enough from him to think that he could be?
I haven't seen enough. Yeah. No. Have you?
I don't think so. No. I had a.
No, I haven't. I don't know.
Where he went.
I was just gonna say because he was a first round pick.
He was a first round pick. I thought that was a little rich. I thought he was more of like a second round type of receiver in terms of like how I valued him.
Right.
But he hasn't even been like to the level that I was hoping for. I think from a separation standpoint, like he's been great. He's got great hands, and he can impact all 3 levels of the field. I will say, like there are little things that he does well, and I do like the player. I'll be interested to see what he does get on the open market this year, though.
You said in your scouting report that he's not in college. He wasn't a 3-level threat as a route runner either.
Right.
And I'm assuming you haven't seen improvement in that area.
No, not really. I mean, look, it's one of those things where, honestly, look at that play, right? He and Devontae essentially have to run the same route. They're running against different
stutter-go routes.
Go. Devontae's going up against a former first-round pick,
right?
And Jahan's going up against a rookie who
guy from the street.
Practice squad that was like a 6th or 7th round pick this past year. And Dotson.
Oh, that's right. He was picked by.
Yes, he was. Right. But he gained no separation against Corey Black, and Devontae made Deonte Banks fall down. So
you just wanted to moss the guy. If you separate, you can't moss the guy.
Correct. Tyler Steen. Has he been good enough that you're not looking to upgrade in the spring?
Probably.
I think so too.
Yeah, probably. I mean, given that by design, he's supposed to be the 5th best offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He has not been the 5th best offensive lineman. I think he's been better this year than Cam Jurgens.
Yeah.
And I'm not even using. I'm not comparing him to Landon because Landon's been hurt, and Landon looked a lot better this last.
Landon has been the last 2 weeks.
Much
he looks
better.
Like Landon.
Yeah, so much better. I think it was good. We said right. We said just sit him. Sit him down for a bit. I am the only reason I hesitate is because there are certain kinds of runs that they were so good at last year that they've just kind of stopped calling. Yeah. Like if you notice in the last few weeks, we haven't seen counter.
Counter, yep.
And that, Mekhi Becton was so good as the puller on those counter runs last year. And they could do it from the other direction with Landon.
Yep.
And with Steen, we saw a few times Steen just like not be physical enough on those counter pull blocks, and those plays get blown up in the backfield. And then they just kind of stopped calling it. So I'm wondering if with Steen, they feel like they can't do certain things.
Yep.
And we know that they have the personnel strongly dictate the kinds of things they call. I mean, like Cam Jurgens, as mobile and athletic as he is clearly hurt this year. And they didn't call a single pin pull run the whole year until this last game with Brett Toth, and they called 5 of them.
Right.
Like they called 2 same side ones from shotgun and 3 from under center. Like they had this whole pin pull package.
Yeah.
And that shows that like who's in there really affects the play calling. And I wonder if Steen is limiting the play calling in a way where we can't really tell that he's limiting the plays because they don't call the plays.
Right.
So that's the only negative I have to say about him. But in terms of like my amateur eyes, like taking notes about the pass pro, there have been very few times this year where I've been like, oh man, Steen got destroyed on that and it messed up the pass pro. Like I feel like he's been better in pass protection than Becton was last year.
That was like how I looked at it last year when there was those conversations when Becton would leave a game, would be like, okay, I feel like Steen is better in pass pro and that Becton there's just better highs in the run game.
Yeah.
And I feel good about that. Becton's a better player, but I think that's the differences between those two.
Yeah, I handwrite my notes, which I don't know how smart that is because it makes it harder to search. I can probably use some sort of software to search it, but I just feel like I just write, I write his name down less than I wrote Becton's name in both directions.
Oh,
no, both directions.
That's a good point.
Like last year it would be like Becton mauled a guy, you know, and then it would be like Becton got beat by the guy.
Yep.
And this year I just feel like Steen is I mean not invisible, but like he's close to invisible, which for an offensive lineman isn't always the worst thing.
Moro Ojomo, has he met your expectations? Do you agree with EJ that he's been equal or better as Milton Williams?
No, but I think he's.
I'm saying that even being facetious. No. I think EJ has doubled down. Like I said, I feel like he's making the same impact.
Well, EJ, I mean, if you're counting sacks, he's gonna surpass what Milton Williams was last year. So EJ is gonna be able to brag about that. I think that my expectations weren't as high as EJ's, and he's pretty much exactly at where my expectations were. Now, remember, the season started, and we were like, ooh, Ojomo didn't look so good.
Right.
He didn't look quite strong enough in some of those, like some of those runs and whatnot. And now it's like, it seems like that's gotten better. I haven't noticed that many plays where it's like you're not getting as much push on the double team or something or they're able to move him easily with like a single blocker on runs, those kinds of things. I feel like that's happened less. That's still happening with Jalen Carter sometimes in a disturbing way. But again, that's all relative to expectation.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that he has met my expectations. And keep in mind, so much of productivity on the defensive line is a team thing. And we've been talking about how lacking the edge rushers are. And so when you don't have that edge rusher getting that extra attention, when you're not able to get those cleanup numbers, it's harder to get the kinds of sacks that Ojomo is getting. And so... I would say pretty much right at my expectation. What about you?
I would say that I fall in the lines of like he's a little bit below what my hope and expectation was. I'm
coming into the year, not out of college.
No, coming out of college, like I thought it was all right, like a couple years of development, and this guy's gonna be an impact starter. So I'm very excited about it. Yeah. So I would say he has met my expectation coming out. He has surpassed his draft slot, no question. I would not say he's been better than 2024 Milton Williams. Like I would not say that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't either.
I think Milton more positively impacted plays on a more consistent basis than what we've seen from Moro so far.
I mean, he might not be better than what year is Moro now?
3.
So you need to compare to 2023 Milton Williams for it to be the same.
Yes.
He might not be at that level either.
I think that's probably right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's probably right.
Right.
Jalyx Hunt, last one.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a really good game from Jalyx this past week against the Giants.
Very good.
Very impactful.
Be nice if he could finish some of those, but yeah.
Do you view him as a guy going into them? There's a lot of football left.
Yeah.
Going into next season, are you saying, yep, Jalyx Hunt is the starter, we're good? Or do you think this is a position where it's like, hey, I would love for them to go and acquire some kind of free agent or high draft pick to plug into that room?
I mean, look, if you're asking, would Myles Garrett make the defense better and have Jalyx Hunt be the third guy in? Like, obviously, yeah. But in terms of like, can the defense function as a top defense with Jalyx Hunt starting? I think so. One of the things that Vic clearly loves the guy, first of all, right? Yeah. Like he clearly loved him. Like when they drafted him, and he clearly loves him. Now the way he talks about him, he talked about how well he's been playing. This week, he went out of his way to talk about how Jalyx Hunt had been having a good year the whole year, and that it's like a misperception that people thought he was having a down year. So I think that one of the things that I'm just guessing, obviously, why Vic loves him so much, but one of the reasons Vic likes him, in my estimation, is how versatile he is.
Yes.
Like when they go from those 5-man fronts in base to 6-man fronts, where Zach Bond comes on one of the edges and someone has to tuck in and put his hand on the ground, that's Jalyx Hunt pretty much every time. Like Jalyx Hunt is the one putting his hand on the ground. When they're in base, he can play on the outside. When they're in nickel, he can rush the passer.
When they do
he
the
can
format,
drop into cover. Yeah,
yes.
the exchanges, he drops. He had a pick 6, obviously. I mean, he was a safety, right? Like we would think that he can, and he even talked about how he understands routes and all that. Like I don't know how much that had to do with that pick 6, but the versatility and the ability to play those different defensive end positions in this defense really matters. I mean, like Vic talked about, Jahad Campbell needed those extra meetings and extra, practice to figure out how to play edge on nickel, and obviously didn't figure it out because he didn't play any of those snaps. Zadarius Smith was here, and he talked for a whole month about how he has to learn the base, and he never played a single snap in base. I'm just going to keep talking about that all year. Zadarius Smith, long retired on an island somewhere, and I'm still going to talk about how he never learned the base defense. So Jalyx Hunt as a second-year player has learned all those things, can play in all those positions. I feel like physically, do you think he's going to develop more and become that more impactful player, or do you think this is kind of his physical ceiling and it's just a matter of mental at this point?
No, I think that there is definitely still meat on the bone developmentally. From a physical standpoint, I think he can still continue to fill out.
Yeah,
and then
that's what I'm wondering, because his frame looks like it can fill out more, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I think there's still some. To me, it comes down, and it's possible that he does what Nolan Smith did last year at this exact juncture where he saw increased playing time Nolan Smith did and took off and was excellent in the second half.
Right.
Who knows? We might not even have to talk about it. Or, like, honestly, if he maintains what he's been doing, I think there's a chance that they spend a high pick on an edge rusher next year. I think it's possible, but we'll see. It's an interesting one.
While we're here, what do you think how do you think they're gonna use BG? Like, do you think BG is just going to be rotational edge? Do you think he's going to play inside sometimes? Do you think he's going to be like the guy who puts his hand on the ground in those fronts? Like, do you think Jalyx Hunt's role is going to change because BG's coming in?
I think that he basically takes Zadarius's role, and then obviously he knows how to play in the Eagles base. So I think he can do a little bit more
in various spots in the base too.
Yeah,
he can play on the inside if
they needed him to. Yeah. So that would be my guess, is that he'll kind of just take on that role and move on,
but not in a way that's going to like stunt anyone's development or anything.
No, I don't think so. All right. Let's go trick-or-treating, and I want you to report back in like 2 hours and let me know how much you hate the Pink Panther.
I am going to really enjoy the Pink Panther thing, especially because even if it drives me crazy, I feel like just the reaction that we get from people will be worth it. We tested it out last night. It's gonna be pretty loud. Like, it's gonna be like the Pink Panther will be like coming down the street with the soundtrack. Yeah, okay, so
you are absolutely.
This was my idea, by the way. I'm very excited about this the soundtrack thing. Yeah.
I appreciate the stick-to-itiveness on your end to say like it's not going to bother you, but in 3 hours you are actually absolutely going to be bothered. Oh, we have some super chats. All right, 2 super chats. Let's go to the first one here, as I don't have my glasses, so I'm going to need. Let's see here. So first one.
There you go.
From Joe.
Looks like my dad's phone right now. Anyone can read it.
Joe Rockhead. So, but in the Giants game, Jalen Carter how much was Jalen Carter double teamed, or is he just not getting home? 9.5 second sack was it. I think my take on the pass rush production from this past game, because I covered this on my piece that's up for Diehards on allphly.com. Talked about like the average time to sack was extremely high, extremely slow. I think that in this game, they were very much concerned about not letting Jackson Dart escape the pocket. And a lot of their rushes were like contain rushes, mush rushes. Obviously, they sent some blitzes here and there. And so that, it wasn't every time. But that Jalen Carter sack, I think, was a good example. I do think that Jalen has been okay relative to the expectation, and not like the consistent like game wrecker all pro that I think people were expecting. I do think that injury has something to do with that. So hopefully the bye week helps them on that side.
That sack's an example of what I was mentioning earlier, that there are more stunts now. Yeah. I mean, that sack involved one of a handful of plays where there was an ET stunt where Jalyx Hunt was the pinner and Carter came around him. There was also a TE stunt on the same play where Jordan Davis pinned for Josh Uche, and it was like 9.5 seconds.
Yes.
But there was a bust on that play too. Like Reed lost his guy in mesh, but there were a lot of busts this game. Yeah, I'm definitely writing Jalen Carter's name down less as a like he just beat a guy one-on-one. Like, we haven't seen those quick wins the way we saw that one on the pick six in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Even when he's had those one-on-one opportunities.
Yeah.
And sometimes they slide to Moro's side and they're able to block Jalen Carter one-on-one.
Yeah.
Do you think it's cause for concern?
I think that I would say optimistically, you think that health is the reason why. I think if you want to be an optimist, I think that's the reason why. I think if you are on the pessimistic side, you would say like, was he in shape coming off the year? Like, is he always going to be an inconsistent player? Who would like to me, Fletcher Cox at the same age he was dominant. He was he was like a plus player every single play. I don't think that Jalen is at that level right now, personally.
Interesting. Don't you think Fletcher Cox had some years in that during like the Bill Davis? Bill Davis. Yeah. Bill Bradley. What?
Man, you're going way back.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. During the Billy Davis defense with the two gapping and everything where he had some kind of quiet years.
Yeah, but I think that was more the nature of that defense. But then also he was dominant in that role.
In that role.
He was asking he was awesome. So
I have this very weird memory of I was at a game and I was standing at the WIP tent just waiting for them to open the inner gates so I could go watch warm-ups. And Handsome Rich's dad was on the WIP pregame show.
Yeah. And
he was just talking about what a quiet player Fletcher Cox was and how disappointing it was. And I just that just got stuck in my head as Fletcher Cox had some quiet moments early in his career before he kind of became Fletcher Cox. But that might have just been he was quiet for a month or something.
Yeah. Fletch was an awesome player. Let's go to our last one here. I'm going to need some help with this one here. This one comes from the Czech Republic. So hello from the Czech Republic. Happy birthday to my brother, Michael Vick, to Deshaun Jackson, who's been a loyal listener since the early Birds with Friend days. Woohoo, love you guys.
Speaking of early Birds with Friends.
Look at that shirt. We'll see you in Philly in January. So thank you so much for the super chat from the Czech Republic. And happy birthday. Birds with Friends, a great t-shirt, by the way.
Yeah.
With that gem.
Yeah. What? Who won the game last night?
Deshaun's team.
Okay.
7. I believe it was 27-20.
Okay. Cool.
Haven't gone through the film on that one yet.
All right.
But no, it was. We went. I was thinking 3:10. It's 3:21.
Not bad.
Overtime. That's not too bad. Yeah, we'll see. I want notes from Bo. There's no chance Bo is watching at this point.
0.
EJ is probably watching. God knows what he's doing right now. But he's 6 hours behind.
I would hope that EJ's at dinner. It's 9:21 on a Friday night in Paris. I would really hope that he's sitting at one of my dinner recommendation spots, having dinner with his Julia. But who knows? Who knows what he's doing? We know his predecessor would have been watching.
Yeah,
no matter where he is.
His predecessor wouldn't be there. He wiggled out of
That's
the...
right. That's right.
Yeah, he brought out,
during the season. Yeah. Can you imagine? What if they trade for... What if he's asleep in Paris when they trade for Myles Garrett?
All right. Well, for Deniz, for Julia producing, for all the sickos in the chat, thank you, everybody. Happy Halloween. We'll be back next week. We've got a full regular week. We'll be back Monday. Handsome Rich and Jamie Lynch will be back in these seats next week. I'll be joining them remotely for a little bit of the show. So make sure you tune in Monday. Obviously, we'll be back if the Eagles make any kind of big move in between now and then. But until then, happy Halloween, and we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.